This very lawyer, in a video clip that you are about to see shortly, Barrister Maxwell Okpara, in a provoked spirit, has alerted Nigerians home and abroad that he is taking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to court. He has his argument. He maintained that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has acted out of the constitutional demands or out of the constitutional premise of this very sovereign nation, Nigeria, and consequently that he is taking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to court. But not only that, the most puzzling that is currently also trending on the Nigeria internet space is that INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission, has demanded a whooping sum of 1.5 billion naira from a law firm in this country, from the office of the VC Otobobo and Associates, who requested the national voter registration record and the polling units. He made this very request under the Freedom of Information Act, which is respected and maintained in this country, Nigeria. But before we dive into that details, make una listen to Barrister Maxwell Okpara, and I will meet you at the end of the section.
It is not absolute. Even the presidential pardon, I am taking president to court by next week. Just to tell the people, it's not absolute. Listen, let me tell you, when president is moving, you are moving. When president is talking, you are talking. When president is taking a decision, you are taking the decision. Do you know the decision the president took? The president said that Maxwell Okpara encourages murder by asking somebody who committed murder to go free. He is my president. When he's moving, Nigeria is moving. When he's sitting, Nigeria is sitting. When he's talking, Nigeria is talking. So you dare not take such a decision. You take it in line with the law.
Many of you can still recall that previously President Bola Ahmed Tinubu granted pardon and clemency as well as amnesty to about 173 Nigerians, both the living and those who have passed on. That argument is still trending on the internet space, and more so, many of you will equally recall that Professor Yakubu Mahmood had just previously resigned or ended his tenure of office as the INEC chairman and handed over everything under his possession to the new administration under the new chairmanship of Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan. And not only that, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu went further to confer a national honor, a national award to Professor Yakubu Mahmood, and conferring on him the title of CON, Commander of the Order of the Niger. This very lawyer also argued that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has just rewarded Professor Yakubu Mahmood for being complicit in the 2023 presidential election, which is the most flawed election in the history of this country. That Professor Yakubu Mahmood does not merit that very national honors. He went further to highlight that Nigerians placed their hope on INEC under the leadership of Professor Yakubu Mahmood in 2023, but he flawed and trampled on the hopes of many Nigerians, and in fact, compost spit put for everybody's face, therefore saying that Professor Yakubu Mahmood does not merit such a national honor. Well, it is not today that we have seen, principally among the political class, among the elite, that as a result of sycophancy, especially with APC administration, that decision-making has become a very big problem, among our political leaders. Because when sycophancy becomes too much, decision becomes very poor. And again, we lose the sight or the trajectory of meritocracy and begin to adopt and embrace mediocrity. That is what happens in a nation where the state has been captured, where every institution has been captured. Just like you see in the Nigeria of today, every governor is now decamping to APC, even when they know that Nigeria, by default, not just by default, comparatively with the rest of the world, must not and can never be a one-party system. But that is the design of the current political class. Gradually, they are drifting towards that, which I had already prophesied earlier if you have been following us on this very channel. It is very sad. I don't want to dwell so much again on the 2023 presidential election, That was the worst of it all. Up to today, Professor Yakubu Mahmoud never told Nigeria what was responsible for the technical glitch that they had up till this moment. And he has resigned. And the business will continue, certainly, as usual. More so, what is currently very worrisome and very disturbing that all Nigerians need to know is that a law firm in this country, Nigeria, under the Freedom of Information Act, the name of the law firm is VC Otokbubu and Associate. The name sounds interesting anyway, but that is by the way. This law firm requested for Nigerian National Voter Registration Record and the polling unit that we have in this country, Nigeria. And they got a response from INEC, which was signed by the Secretary to the Commissioner, Rose Oriora Anthony, demanding this law firm to pay a whooping sum of 1.5 billion naira. According to that letter, they maintain that the 1.5 billion naira is part of the production cost and logistics, that they should pay in that money to INEC's remitters account, that as soon as that money is received by INEC, they will go into publishing and sending them those records. Don't forget that this very national register is very, very important in verifying any alleged case of multiple voter registration. It also helps to identify ghost voters and what we call disproportionate polling units, because politicians can be really very unscrupulous. Somebody can even assign a polling unit to his house or to his neighbor's house. At the end of the day, some people may not even know that there is a polling unit there, and they will end up stamping and thumbprinting results on the days of election. So by INEC demanding 1.5 billion naira from this law firm, it means that the verification that this law firm wants to do has been defeated in this country, Nigeria. A bigger question you will begin to ask: why has INEC not been able to make voter registration record digitally accessible to Nigerians? And why will a whooping sum of 1.5 billion naira required to get this register? Lack of transparency. I have always cried out about the government of the day, APC government. Lack of accountability, lack of transparency. Nobody is being held accountable for anything. The government leadership are not transparent at all. And that was the singular reason why the Minister of Works, Engineer Dave Umahi, got upset, got angry with Rufai Oseni when he asked him a very simple question: how much is the cost per kilometer on the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway? What is the estimated cost? What is the actual cost? He could not provide an answer. Some days later, a publication came that it is 7.5 billion naira per kilometer. Still, if you divide 7.5 billion naira by the number of kilometers of that very project, or multiply 7.5 billion naira by the number of kilometers of that very road, you will still have question mark, which questions the characters of our political office holders. Now, going back to the voter registration record, since 1996 in this country, we had 119,974 polling units. However, in 2021, INEC expanded the polling units in this country. They expanded by creating more 56,872 polling units in this country. And that brings us all together in the Nigeria of today to a total of 176,846 polling units in this country. Yet, INEC is demanding 1.5 billion naira from a law firm before they can make these records available. It is pathetic when we talk about INEC reforms. INEC reforms alone may not be able to solve our problem without solving the criminality or the mindset or the criminal mindset behind the people who are leading us, who will always infiltrate all these institutions in order to lure them into doing their biddings. Unfortunately, we have less of a people in this country who still has integrity, that can stand their ground in the midst of all compromise, in the midst of all rascality, to say, we cannot do this, because integrity is doing the right thing, even when nobody is watching. Yet we claim that we are a Christian country, we claim that we are a Muslim country, that we worship the Almighty Allah in spirit and in truth, that we worship God in spirit and in truth. I have always known that in this part of the world, Africa, Nigeria, that we have very few Christians who actually love God, who actually believe in God, who are ready to do the things Christ, as a Christian, for example, has commanded us to do. Only very few people. And if you go to the Islam, it is the same thing. Only very few people who are ready to do what Prophet Muhammad, blessed be his holy name, who are ready to do what Prophet Muhammad has commanded the Islam or the Muslim to do. The problem we have in Nigeria is complicated. And 2027 will be another defining point for all of us. All hands must be on deck. Yes, we must take Nigeria by being intentional, by matching the opposition with their own whims and caprices, with their own tactics. Yes, Nigerians must be resilient, persevered enough, and intentional. Not just voting and going home. You must vote and defend your vote in all ramifications at all levels. Otherwise, you see this criminality and rascality, it will continue. But all the same, I'll allow you guys to be the judge. Don't forget to let me know what you think in the comment section and share this video. May another person see him. God bless you.